You have to be aware of your value before it's too late, before people have control over you, before people can use you, before people can manipulate you easily. And the reason it's important for you to notice what your value is because that way you will unlock your full potential. But how would you know that you have a big potential if you don't try things out? If you don't believe in yourself, if you have limiting beliefs, I can assure you that you're not going to get where you want because the only thing in the middle stopping you from going that extra mile, that extra step into becoming the person that you want to be is literally your limiting beliefs. How do I fight these limiting beliefs? Well, one way to fight them is where is the place that you spend the most time in? Is it your office? Is it your bed? Is it your work? Is it your phone? Where is it that you spend the most time in? Once you find out what's the place that you spend the most time in and that you see all the time, you're going to write either a note or create a wallpaper for your phone where you're going to say, limiting beliefs are not allowed in my life, or make it even easier and more chewable and something that will remind you of what is actually important, that what actually matters. For example, you can write something like, I avoid limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs don't belong in my life. So if you can write that down and remind yourself of this most of the time, then you're going to start noticing and create an awareness over the thoughts that you have and the limiting beliefs that you have. Because you're probably not even aware that you have these limiting beliefs. I noticed that I had limiting beliefs when I had to go through circumstances that were hard for me. But guess what? Once you pass the test of something hard, of a situation that is hard for you, you get to know your potential. You get to know what you're capable of. But this happens only through passing the test of going through hard things. You will never know if you are going to be a failure in business or if you're going to be a failure as a musician if you never show up to an audition. You will never know if you will be successful. If you never surround yourself with the people that are doing the same thing, if you never show up for somebody that needs a singer or even a restaurant, you have to start with small steps as well. You will never know that you're good at business if you never start one, if you never try to sell your first product, if you never record your first video. You will never know if you're good at these things, if you're going to succeed if you never start. And the only thing that's stopping you from that, from doing that, is probably your limiting beliefs. You don't want to take a big action, a big step, just because you are stopping yourself by believing the wrong thoughts. And these thoughts are telling you what happens if everything goes wrong? What happens if you don't do it? Time is going by. What are you going to do? You're no longer the right age. Whatever you hear in your brain, you need to train your mind. You need to train your thoughts, call them out, and say, why don't we reframe that? Why, instead of asking me these questions, I don't ask myself, what if everything goes really good? What if I actually make it? What if I actually go to that audition and I get accepted? What if I start the business and I make my first sale? What it will be like? But instead, we're here asking ourselves the wrong questions. Do we talk to our kids, or like a kid? If you had to talk to your inner child, do you talk to your inner child by saying, like, what if you actually never become the person you want to be? Will you talk to a child like that? No. Childs have literally like the biggest imagination, and they want big things for themselves. And maybe even being a firefighter is a big thing for them. And while we listen to them, we might be like, you might not like it when you're older. But you never know. Maybe that is their actual dream. And maybe they do it for at least a year. Guess what? They hit a goal. And that's what matters in life. You're here to experience things. So hit a goal by setting one first. And second of all, just start something. Start whatever it is. You will never achieve something if you never give the first step. And the steps are doing things that are hard. When you do things that are hard, guess how things are going to be in your life? so much easier. For example, me making the decision of living in a different country is a hard decision. Why? Because I had to leave a past identity. I had to leave a lot of family in a different country. I have to notice that a lot of people won't be able to be at the frequency that I am because they have a different reality. I had to accept that all the belief systems that I had when I was in my country were so different than what I have here. I didn't have abundance when I was in my country. Now I do. I didn't have much support for certain things. Now I do. I have way many opportunities than I ever had. And guess what? I was still dealing with limiting beliefs. Why? Because I grew up listening to my family saying, no, I can't afford that. No, what if this happens? Or like, I will never fall in love. Oh, they can say anything. And that's just the way I grew up. I grew up with a lot of negativity. I grew up with a lot of toxic self talks. I grew up with a lot of scarcity around life, around work, around everything. And now I have to accept that I'm a different person and I'm starting things and I have to believe in myself and I have to be my own parent and ask myself the right questions. So when you ask yourself the right questions, you're being your good parent and you have to do it. You have to do this because your parents are not going to be asking you how did it go at college, how is it going with your YouTube video. Maybe they do, but it's not the same with somebody that actually really cares about what you're doing. And guess who cares the most about what you're doing? You. And if you're not giving yourself the right talks, if you're not self-talking to yourself right, then it's like you're going to feel lonely and you're going to feel like you're not going to achieve anything because you have the wrong self-talk. You just have to talk to yourself like if you cared and like if you saw all the good possibilities. What if I record this video? What if I actually record this video this late at night and it becomes a really good video, a viral video? If that was my goal, or it's just a video that in 3 months I'm not going to regret making it because while I'm listening, I'm like, I was right. That's what I wanted to do. I'm so glad you made this video. And that's how you have to talk to yourself. You have to have the right thoughts, the right beliefs, start building them, start polish them, feed the right beliefs, the good beliefs about yourself, and the good questions, the positive questions, asking yourself, what if I do this and I actually ended up feeling so much better before I go to bed? Then just going to bed and be like, oh, I didn't record another video. I didn't do what I wanted to do. I wasted my time. I don't know what to do with my life. And you're just thinking all these things. You're not being your best friend. You're being your worst friend, literally, your enemy. You don't have to do that. You literally can train yourself, ask yourself the right questions, and take action. You take action, and the game for everybody is over, but for you. Why? Because you're taking action on the things that matter to you. And you're the only one that is experiencing what is happening to you. Nobody is experiencing what is happening to you. Then you get to brag. You get to brag and say, yes, I achieved that. Yes, I've been doing this and this happened. You get to do all those things. But you saw the iceberg from the bottom. You know exactly what it took you to be where you now can brag about. So if something worked in the past, what makes you think that it doesn't work now, that it won't work now? But that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you really like this video. If you want to see more content, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.